Hey, what's up, mechanics, and welcome back to the channel. And here it is. We have another interview here at Import Alliance. Today is day 2, the final day of IA. But luckily, we've gotten a chance to talk to Jimmy and his Datsun 510, correct?
Yes.
So this car really caught my eye because not only is it a Datsun, and they're very rare to begin with, but it is probably one of the cleanest 510s I've seen in quite some time. I know I say that a lot about a lot of cars. But generally, when I say the craftsmanship and the passion behind this car is definitely something that's cool.
Well, I spent probably a good 3 years building the car. I've owned it actually longer than that, but I've got a strong 3 years building it. Some of the big highlights: it's got an SR20DET. It's got Subaru STI differential with custom drive shaft. Really, all adjustable suspension from Techno-Toy. It's got a rack and pinion conversion out of a MR2 using a custom cross member. Pretty much the entire interior is custom as well, from aluminum dash to the aluminum center console, all that type of stuff. So, of course, my favorite wheels, raised wheels, the T37. And I really like how they look on the car with the flares, allowing me to get the width and everything that I wanted. It really has a nice look that I was going for anyway.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's nothing in particular is over the top, but it's just enough for you to really kind of peek and make sure that you're looking for every little detail, from the die stamp, like cross members and supports, to just the carpet fenders. They're not massive fenders either, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're maintaining the stock body lines, but it's just enough to bring everything all together, and I really appreciate that.
And a lot of it's kind of a throwback to some of when they were building these cars back in the 70s and racing them and everything.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of a twist on it in a way.
Yeah. I was looking at that too. I saw the Instagram now with JGT, and I was like, man, this guy must be really racing or something like that too. So I saw that, and then the headers on the the SR20 is like, they're fantastic. I mean, they're TIG welded stainless steel, all going to one electric.
It's actually a HKS.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, it's fabulous, man. I gotta say, it's like that golden color from stainless steel when it gets hot. It's really pretty. So yeah. So when did you originally buy the car?
I don't even know.
It's
been quite a few years ago. Yeah, that I purchased the car. It's set for a few years because I was building a car for my wife. She's got a S14 240SX, and it pretty much just sat there. And then I moved to Florida probably a few years ago. And then when I moved down here, after I got straightened out, I really started getting to work on it probably about 3 years ago.
Oh, right on.
And then this past year, my goal was to get it at SEMA. So it was in the Toyo Tires Tread Pass at SEMA, and it was definitely a push to get it. So because I do this as a hobby. I have a full-time job that I do regularly. So
yeah, it's crazy how that goes. You know, you always find some other pieces before you have it. You know what I mean? It's definitely a passion that I can definitely see that it has paid off thus far. So it's an absolutely gorgeous car.
thank you.
I think too, one of the things that stands out is, like, you know, nowadays you see a lot of over fenders and a lot of like all this crazy body work, but like you said, none of the body work is wild, so to speak. But I see a lot of carbon on there. In terms of like the lip, the splitter, and the over fenders. Do you have any other like carbon?
It's got some subtle stuff to the body as well. Like the marker lights have been shaved on all 4 corners. The antenna that's usually on one of the 8 pillars has been shaved as well. Everything in the tail panel has been shaved off, and all that type of stuff. The keyholes have been shaved. The trunk, the gas door, all that's been shaved as well. I'm actually using a pull and push from a 240SX to pop the trunk and to do the gas door.
It's almost like that old school like lowrider type deal where you gotta have the solenoid and pop the doors and stuff like that. Shaved handles, like roll pans on pickup trucks. Like it's also really cool. The headlights too, I gotta say, it really freshens up the front end and it kind of brings it into somewhat of a modern era. but it's so classic still. And that's what I really like about it.
Yeah, Dapper Lighting is actually they make the Ford kit for, and they actually market it for the 510.
Yeah,
and it's LED as well, so LED high and low beam.
Yeah, I noticed that, and it's got the spherical, like, omnidirectional kind of light bulb in there too. Like it's almost like it's looking at you and it's got something to say, but it's just kind of waiting in the cut, waiting for it for its chance.
Absolutely. The black housing and everything, I think, gives it a nice look to it. So
for sure.
With the all blacked out grille and bumpers and stuff like that.
For sure. Now you mentioned it's an SR20. Can you care to share a little bit more specs on it, or?
So it's mostly stock, to be completely honest. The whole long block. The only thing that has been changed is I put a Mexi metal head gasket on it, ARP head studs. But I'm just running an S15 turbo. So it's, I wouldn't go in for big power. The car probably weighs maybe a little over 2,000 pounds. I haven't weighed it yet, but it's based off what they originally weighed and what's done to it.
Yeah.
It's got a Greddy intake manifold, which cleans everything up a little bit, and adds some top ends, and an exhaust manifold, and 550cc injectors. Just little bolt-on stuff for the most part is what I consider. I did a full refresh as far as gaskets and seals, and new oil pump, new water pump, all that type of stuff as well when I was putting the engine back together. It was a known running engine that I pulled out of one of our other projects that I replaced with a build engine.
Yeah.
So, I was pretty confident in it. So.
Yeah, and it's good that you didn't necessarily go high powered. You see a lot of everybody's on YouTube nowadays with 1,000 horsepower, insert car here. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
This car made 1,500 horsepower on pump gas. Like, that's cool and all, but like at the end of the day, how much more fun is a 1,500 horsepower versus like 500 horsepower? If you can't put the power to the ground, then there's no point in having it.
Exactly. And I try to tell people that all the time. That's exactly. If you don't have about 1,000 horsepower, most people don't seem to care. But if you factor it in, this car is maybe around 2,000 pounds and maybe around 300 horsepower. A modern car, most modern cars weigh at least 4,000 pounds.
Yeah.
It would take 600 horsepower and the wheels do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And with all that extra weight comes that extra mass. To be able to put it around a corner is a lot more difficult than it is with something this size. That's one of the reasons why I love my Evo so much, because it's still, for me, the perfect size of car. It's a 4-door, 4-cylinder, 4-wheel drive. Like, it's great. This Datsun is another really good example of, right size, right power, right tread width. Like, the treads aren't super wide either, but I guarantee you can probably hook around the corner just as well as the next sports car.
Oh yeah.
And I think one of the biggest advantages too that you have is that you built it. You have that much more knowledge in the car, whereas like, money being the great equalizer, you can just go buy a car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I can't keep up with the hours that I have in it, to be completely honest. Like, and a lot of it came from necessity as far as rust repair, because this was an East Coast car. So like the whole front fork support that I made out of tube and everything. Part of the reason why I did it is because they had a minor fender bender in the front, and instead of just replacing with another used one, because they don't replace it, they make reproductions of that. I just made my own stuff.
What's your so because you have so many hours, do you have any particular favorite thing or things in the car?
Off the top of my head, I really like the center console and the dash and everything and how it came together. It's pretty basic, but it's made out of aluminum, and then I got panels that bolt onto the sides that are actually wrapped in the same fabric as the seats and stuff.
Oh, right on.
So I was pretty happy with that, the way that turned out. But just the overall look of the car, I was really happy with the way it came together, and it kind of, the vision I had in my head really came out. So.
Yeah, and it definitely shows, the care and dedication definitely shows. Just looking at the half cage too, and you have full functioning bucket seats in there. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, well, it is a reclinable bucket, but yeah, I mean, they hold you in well, and the seats are, the seat belts are street legal, so they have a traditional clasp on it instead of the circle style that you use in racing and everything. So even though it is street legal, they definitely hold you in, and the seats are very tight.
And it's cool too, because you got the Takana harnesses, the ride seats, like titanium, you know what I mean? Like it's straight up like, if period correctness brought into the modern world, like this is what it is. So yeah, I really appreciate that too.
I like quality Japanese stuff. From Greddy to HKS, Tomei, Bride, Takata, all that type of stuff. If I could work it in to it, I did. A lot of the stuff on a 510, it's hard to get stuff like that.
Yeah.
Based on availability, but there are other guys that step up and take care of that. So like a suspension, those guys from the U.S. Fuel cell came from Australia. There's actually a lot of 510. Enthusiasts in Australia.
It's really surprising in the Australian market in terms of like the cars that they roll a lot. Like I remember, 5 to 7 years ago, you'd be rolling around in a beater Skyline, and like you never think those two words that go in the same sentence, but like their love of Japanese cars, goes almost as much as the homeland of Japan themselves. So it's really awesome.
Part of it probably has to do with them being so close in a way.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
Yeah.
So, is the car done? Are you going to do anything more to it, or are you kind of refining it as you go?
So I've constantly got a list in my garage of dry erase board of stuff that needs to be still done.
Yeah.
So it's actually got AC in it.
Okay. Man, that's life luxury right there.
Yeah, and which took me a lot of extra time to do, to be completely honest. There's a very little room up here to fit the condenser and everything. But I still got a couple little things to finish up with AC and get it recharged to get that running. And then I got little stuff, like I just got my hood last week. I just didn't have a chance to actually get it straightened out. It's a carbon hood.
Okay.
TSR Fabrication out of California actually made.
Right on.
Because
I wouldn't imagine the Sidebond to be able to have a hood for a 510 like that.
Yeah, so it looks really good. I got some pictures of it, but even the bottom side's finished out. It's carbon on both sides and everything.
Sure, if you see me those pictures, I'll make sure I drop them in the video for sure.
But yeah, I've got other little stuff as well that hasn't been done yet, but the final alignment hasn't been done.
Okay. Did you drive in here or did you trailer here?
Trailer here. Yeah, because I came from Central Florida, so it's a good drive.
Okay. Yeah, it's Florida here. It's definitely quite the hop.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell it's definitely a popular car here. So with that being said, so we've already talked about your favorites. We've already talked about what your future plans of the car. Is there anything at this point that if you could change or do over again, would you do that? And what is it?
The final paint body.
Really?
That's the only thing I didn't do myself.
Okay.
And I was limited on time, so I went with someone that said they could do it on time, and I was not happy with it.
Okay, fair point. Yeah,
I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah, no, I totally understand because I'm not a body guy myself. Like if there's anything in the automotive space that I don't like doing, it's because I don't have the time or the patience. Body work, and I can understand that. A lot of people think like a good paint job is only a couple $1,000, but like to get a car completely the way the owner envisioned, sometimes it costs tens of thousands of dollars, and a lot of people are like taken aback by that.
Yeah.
Wow. It's just paint.
And this one wasn't cheap by any means, but it was not up to my standards at the same time.
Yeah.
But overall, it still has a good look and everything. All the other stuff kind of draws your eye away from the little imperfections that I see. But I'm a perfectionist when it comes to a lot of stuff. So
and definitely a lot of owners are. I know with me, whenever I'm taking my Evo to any kind of car show, even I took it to one car show and ended up getting home like the top 30 car, and I was like, but it's dirty, it's got dents here, like the scratch here, like I haven't cleaned it in a while, like the interior's got dirt all over it. But I gotta say, even with whatever imperfection that you say you have, like I gotta say it's gotta be one of the cleanest bodies I've seen in a while.
I think
it's not often you get to see a Datsun, like I said, because they're rare to begin with. But to see one at the status and level that you see, it's definitely big props to that for sure.
Thank you.
So kind of also let the camera down for a second. So given the motor, what kind of electronics you're running off the top of your head in terms of engine management stuff?
Engine management, I'm still running a factory ECU that's been reflashed.
Okay.
So I just sent him a SpaceX engine and everything, and Martin he's been doing it for 20 years probably or so. So he's got a pretty good base file for most basic setups. So he's got me reflashed, and then what I'll do is when I get everything completely straightened out, I'll probably take it to him and throw it on the dyno and let him check everything out, make sure it's good.
Right on. Yeah, that's definitely something I'm kind of nervous about for my car because going into a fresh build, new cylinder head, new engine block. I mean, the tune is, I don't know how many years old.
Yeah.
Kind of nervous because I'm going to put it back together and have started on the old tune. So, you know, engine management and care for it is definitely one of the things that I would honestly say people overlook. You know, not even really think too much of it. They're like, they think 1,000 horsepower is easy to come by, when in reality, stock power is even harder to come by on a new build. So,
cool. That makes sense. Cool. Now the entire car is running off my switch panel in the center console. So we've got switch rows. It starts the vehicle. It controls my signals, pretty much everything. On the car. So. Including powering up the ECU and all that stuff. So full custom harness for the entire chassis.
It's like spaceship, you know, you can click all the buttons and the switches.
Exactly. Engine harness was a wiring specialty, so that made it easy as far as that portion goes. But yeah, I like the switch panel. It works really nicely.
Yeah, I definitely want to make sure I get the proper B-roll to show that off. So that's for sure. Well, I think that's going to do it for the interview. So I really appreciate your time. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Where can we find you on social media?
So Instagram is JGT0726, and that's where I interact the most, to be honest.
Okay, right on. So definitely give him a follow. Jimmy, I want to thank you again for letting me get the chance to interview you and your absolutely incredible car. It's absolutely beautiful. So that'll do it for this one, guys. As always, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Give Jimmy a follow on his Instagram. I'll make sure I'll drop a link in the description below for where you can find him on his social media. And thanks to your partners again for helping you bring this together. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Be safe out there.